Welcome to the official Hacks podcast from HBO Max and Pineapple Street Studios. I'm Hannah Einbinder. I play Ava on the show, opposite the amazing Jean Smart, who is beautiful and plays Deborah Vance. And I am guest hosting for the first episode of the podcast. Joining me are the brilliant Hacks creators and my bosses. Be cool, guys, be cool. Creator, writer, Jen Statsky.
Hello.
Creator, writer, director, actor, Paul Downs.
Hi.
Oh my God, and creator, writer, director, Lucia Agnello.
Ciao tutti.
Ciao tutti. That means hello, everyone.
Really good.
Really good.
I listen.
Yes.
Hello, hello. So on this podcast, you'll have a rotating group of guest hosts who will talk to you about the making of each Hacks episode this season. I'm so honored to be first. Okay, let's get into the premiere of season 2. It's called There Will Be Blood. It was written by Jen, Paul, and Lucia, and directed by Lucia.
Jimmy, I was wrong. You were right. Deborah's absolutely capable of killing me. She cannot find out about that email.
Okay. Calm down. I'm working on it. But for the time being, just stay away from her.
Ava. Oh, gotta go. Ava.
You were right. I'm going to feel a lot better once I'm on the road. That's why we're going tonight. Just you and me.
Just us? Mm-hmm. No. What about the bus? The big bus?
No. We can meet up with them in a couple of weeks. Tour starts tonight.
I just want to go ahead and dive in. So my main interest and something I think the fans will be very excited to know is the vibe in the writer's room. I know you guys, if I'm correct, had to do it over Zoom these past 2 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Both seasons.
The three of us are in person always, but then our writer's room is all over Zoom. There are writers on the show that I've worked with now for 2 years that I've never met in person. The day we talked about our heights, there was some shocking revelations.
What did everybody think who everyone was and what are they actually?
Yeah. Oh, this will be fun. We'll try and remember every writer's height. Okay. So we have Pat Regan, who's
Okay.
5'11", Andrew Law, 5'9",
Okay.
Joe Mandy, 5'9", 5'11",
Joe Mandy, amazing writer and co-star of Hacks, playing Ray.
Sam Riley, 5'2".
5'2".
Yeah.
She clocked in at 5'2".
Aisha Mohar, 5'10".
See, she gives 5'8" energy.
Okay.
To me, everyone's tall.
Ariel Carlin, 5'4".
5'3", I'd say.
Now, Ariel Carlin, I'll say this.
Yeah.
She was in a sketch show at UCB in New York that I directed many, 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 many moons ago.
What?
And then we worked together. She was like a junior copywriter where I was a copywriter at a place called Life Booker.
The inspiration for Deals on
Broad
Broad
City, where Ariel was also an extra background artist in Deals on Broad City. And then she was a writer's assistant on Babysitter's Club, popped over, was a season 1 writer's assistant on Hacks, co-wrote the finale with Jen, and now she is a full-fledged writer on the show.
It's almost as if she is Ava and you are Deborah.
Yeah. I think she may have coined a dark mentorship, maybe.
I think she did. I think
Yes.
that was her term. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's really so funny and really has come into her own. I'm just a fan.
She's fabulous. I
She
mean,
is.
her and Pat wrote together the episode
Episode 204.
204,
which,
yeah.
I mean, hold on to your goddamn hats, ladies. That's all I got to say.
Ladies, gentlemen,
Ladies.
move on.
Emphasis on ladies.
This is
No,
one
I-
insight into the show, actually, that we have the tallest cast of people, maybe on television, definitely on HBO. Carl Clemens Hopkins, incredibly
6'4".
tall, 6'4". Hannah Einbinder, incredibly tall.
I mean,
think.
5'8"3/4". It's not nothing.
You know what it is? It's your Doc Martens that you often
Yeah.
wear.
Add
Often
4 to
you
7 inches.
often you have like 7-inch Doc Marten heels. And then Jean
Jeans.
Smart is 5'11" barefoot,
Model.
also in heels. So, you know, and then there's me, 6'3".
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
it's
it's
just-
like so much.
It's so much.
Yeah.
So I'm like really interested in hearing the pitches that didn't make it. Tell me the inside scoop on like anything you can tell me, like, because I know you may be saving stuff. I just wish I was a fly on the wall in the writer's room. It's like, seems like so much fun.
It's so much fun, and it is also so painful. Honestly, like sometimes it's the most fun. I think the thing we love the most is like the blue sky, which is what we do when it's just the beginning of the season, and we're just like, what are just big picture ideas? Like then like anything is possible, and time is on your side, and it's
Yeah,
just
there's no
fun
pressure.
and that's when it's like the most fun. And in a way, because we thought of the show 7 years, which I think I say every 20 minutes, like, we thought of the show 7 years ago. But it gives it like a different vibe because we had essentially like blue sky for like 5 years where we were constantly just like, this could be a thing and that could be a thing.
There's a couple we've threatened to do.
Yeah. Oh, the one where it's an episode and everyone's on an ice rink and it's completely on ice.
It's the ice rink episode.
Yeah.
You really want to do ice capades.
We gotta
talk
do
about
it on
a
ice,
lot.
mostly because I
Hacks on
can't
ice.
skate.
Oh, very funny.
yeah.
Which
Good
I
to know.
think.
Los Angeles.
I don't know why I think
Yeah.
Jean probably can. She does a
Oh, I bet she's
trilateral.
amazing.
Yeah, she gets on
She's
the
like
ice
Nancy
pole.
Kerrigan
She
style.
can do
Yeah.
anything. That's why you think that. It's like, because there's nothing she's done though. She's like, I can't do that.
She's like, yeah, I had the same coach as Oksana Bayul.
So yeah, that's interesting. Like you have these like 7 years full of thinking of all these things, and then season 1, and then like talk to me about. I mean, I've talked to Jen about this. For me, I experienced so much writer's block when you get that first album out. You know, season 1, and it's out and it's solid. It's rock solid, and then you're going into season 2, 3, 4. You do have stuff that bleeds over from the original like 7 years. Talk to me about like that creative process. Just trying to like expand on the material.
Well, I think one thing is that we wanted to have sort of a resetting of the Deborah-Ava dynamic so that there was, the classic ribbing, torture, needling that Deborah does of Ava.
Abuse.
So that was one thing we knew going into it, I think, was something we wanted to do.
See, like when you're lucky enough to have a season 1 that does well, you're like trying to balance this thing of, like Paul said, like give the audience more of what they've come to love and more of the same. But then how do you elevate that and make it feel different enough that it's not just so static? So I think going into season 2, we had a lot of like, we gave ourselves like a setup. We gave ourselves this on the road thing that gave us a lot. The email was something we knew we had to deal with. So there was a lot of arrows in our quiver. Is that what you would say? Is that what my archery fam would say?
And inside the specific episode we're talking about, just like talking about filming, like we filmed that opening sequence. I believe we reshot that a couple times.
Wow, your phone's really blowing up. What's happening? I'm not getting service.
Oh my God, what did you do?
Okay, I can explain.
Drop it! Drop it! Barry, drop it. You know grapes can kill you. Reach into his mouth. Reach into his mouth. Barry, look at mommy. Spit it out.
We've shot it twice.
And it was one of the only things we did that with.
Yes. Didn't get really enough the first time of just like tension, because it's a silent scene for the most part. I mean, there's some dialogue, but it is inconsequential. So it was just kind of like I needed, I think, slightly bigger reactions to build the sequence because it was when we were cutting it, it just felt slightly vague and we wanted to inject it with as much tension as humanly possible. And so we went back. And though I will say not every part of what is on screen is from the reshoot. A lot of it is also from the first time we did it. So it was just getting a couple more shots.
It was like pickups of little bits and pieces, mostly those close-ups to like enhance Ava's tension in those moments.
That was one thing we knew we wanted to do is drop back into the season very shortly after we left off. We didn't want to have like a big time jump. And one inside the actor studio of the writer process was that we initially had talked about starting on a very close shot of Deborah's billboard with a slow pullout that was getting painted over. And Deborah and Ava would be in the car just off the plane. But then we thought, why not just drop right back in? You know, we can just be in that tension, in that place. We can really make it clear to the audience that we are coming right back so that it's not sort of a question, oh, how'd they get in the car? Where are they coming from?
How long has it been?
Yeah. So it's truly picking up just hours later.
And how fully formed was that episode before you brought it into the writer's room?
It was fully written.
Fully.
The first 3 episodes
Or
were
just
fully
all
written.
y'all?
There was such, like one of the biggest challenges is like Jay was saying, like blue sky is so nice because it's like there's no time pressure and you can just throw things out. But once, we had a very fast turnaround. I think time was so crunched that we just had to have them done. Yeah, so the 3 of us, we, at the beginning of the season, we had to, both write the first 3 episodes to have those done, but also arced out kind of a lot of the not all of it, but a lot of the season 1 for our characters, and arc meaning just like talking about the characters and what their journey will be from the first episode to the last, and kind of all the ups and downs of their emotional and plot arcs, we call them.
So, like, and tell me if this is typical, because like obviously my only experience of making a television show is in a COVID world.
Yeah.
So would typically the writers be on set?
I think oftentimes.
Yeah.
Like all of them?
No. Well,
Just
different
like-
shows do it. You can do it any way you want. Veep famously, like every
Our
writer
HBO sister, Veep.
our HBO fam, Veep, would famously, all the writers would be on set. So there'd be like 13 chairs at Video Village
Oh my
for
God.
every single writer.
Terrifying.
But like on other
That's
shows.
fun though. It's like it's almost like a
Yeah.
multicam, like a live studio audience.
But like for Broad City, for example, I mean, you guys were always on set because you were
Mm-hmm.
directors, EPs, actors. But like I was only ever on set for my episodes for Broad City, like if I like rarely, and other writers weren't
Never.
really.
No.
I think maybe you might have been the only writer, actually.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how do you think that changes the show? Like, especially, episodes 1 through 3, and talking about episode 1, like you wrote it completely alone together, and you're making it completely, the three of you being like sort of the creative center. How does that compare to like other sort of typical environments? And I mean, it seems like it's like such a pure thing.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to say. I'm paraphrasing something I think Mike Nichols said to Nora Ephron, which is you never get to see other people do it. It's like having sex, unless you're, an
freak.
exhibitionist and a freak.
Yeah.
No, we don't kink shame.
And let it rock.
We absolutely love it.
Let it rock.
But I think it seems really hard for people who make shows alone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I get the two smartest people I know
Yeah.
there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It feels like it's.
Yeah, we say this a lot. Like, it seems so challenging to be the sole showrunner, just because there's so much to do, there's so much work, and yeah, like Paul's saying, like we have this automatic, the three of us, like, yeah, it's like I'll pitch something and my two favorite writers like it. It must be pretty good,
Yeah.
So like,
We love it.
it's
We love it.
It's a really nice process of just like, even before it gets to you guys as the actors or even the other writers, like 3 people have already vetted it, 3 people have already punched it up, 3 people have already put all their brains on it.
Yeah.
And I think at this point, our brains have really melded. Like Paul and I's brains and bodies have melded for so long that I already know 95% of the time when he's going to say something at Video Village what his feedback is going to be, because I just know how his brain works. And we have been working with Jen for, I don't know, years and years and years now. So I do think that our brains are so, like, they have
Group
melded.
mind.
Yeah, that like it does mean that the show has kind of a specific voice, and I do hope that that's what you feel.
Yeah.
That's not
Absolutely.
to say having other perspectives and other writers isn't immensely helpful. Absolutely, it is.
And
especially-
vital. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
But I do think when the whole project and process is filtered through that almost one brain, that yet is 3.
One
Yeah.
big brain.
One big
One
mushy
big
brain.
super brain. We'll
I
take
don't
over
know.
the tri-state area.
I don't know. I mean, I think it provides some specific flavor,
Yeah. Obviously, this show is about a creative collaboration. So we, I
Yeah.
think, are just like, and Paul and Chia have been a duo for so long, and now the 3 of us, like, I'm just very interested in it. And like, it seems like a thing that I'm like proud of us that we've been able to do. And I do see it as like something that can be the death of a creative collaboration, is like, we really don't bring like ego to it, in the sense that I think what people think is that, like, if you're all pitching ideas and if it's like your idea isn't the one that's getting used, or you feel like your idea is getting shut down, that you have like some ego attachment to it, and like you really can't do that. We're all so invested in the show product more than we are our own individual contribution to it.
Yeah. And that's something that that has really stuck out to me about the way that you guys make this show. Because there's like a lot of lore around the like crazy showrunner on cocaine in his pajamas. And he didn't write the script till last night because he's genius and brilliant. And he like comes to set and he's like and it's just like, yeah, that's how you make the good stuff. It's like, no, the less ego, the better. And that is like something that I've always seen about every element of the way that you guys contribute to this show and create it. Every process, whether that's acting or writing or directing, like it's such a clear and great example for people who are maybe listening to this. I assume like film school little freakos. Shout out to you. I am one of you. We all are in a sense.
Yes.
Yeah. Like that is a great lesson just going forward. Egolessness, caring about the product, caring about the team, like putting the team before yourself. And that's something that happens here on set every single day. I watch it happen. It happens behind the scenes. And I just wanted to point that out and say, rock on in that sense.
I've definitely worn pajamas to set at least once. But I was really pregnant this season. So
Yeah. So it's very, your guys' like heart and soul and love for each other definitely comes out in the Ava-Deborah relationship. What little details from your life or from the lives of, you know, anyone in the writer's room or like the cast or anything, like what makes it into the show?
Yeah. Obviously, we're constantly putting little things from our lives and our writers' like in the show. Specifically, even in this episode, the Christmas room is something that we're very happy with how it turned out. That's your grandmother, right?
Yes, in part. Yeah,
in part.
So,
it's half Paul's grandmother, half Jean Smart. Which we
so
should,
Jean Smart is a Christmas queen, a Christmas aficionado, and she has a lot of decorations. In fact, we should just tell the story.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, listeners. We wanted to get Jean a Christmas gift because Jean is also great at gifts. So Jean finds thoughtful, personal, like truly unique vintage eBay gifts that she then hand wraps, writes the card, drops off by hand. Yeah. So we wanted to get her a great Christmas gift, and knowing that she loves Christmas ornamentation.
Well, and season 1, the pilot, there's the scene where she is doing her photo shoot for her Christmas album. And there was a like life-size nutcracker on set that day, and Jean loved it. She kept talking about it. She's really
like, if that falls off the truck, let me know.
Yeah. So
but it was a rental. It was from a prop house.
It was a rental. It was from a prop house. We couldn't get it.
it.
So yes, we had the idea. We said, oh, let's get her a nutcracker. Let's get her one of these life-size nutcrackers.
And actually, we were driving to Vegas when you found this. We were on our way to Vegas, driving there because, again, it felt safer during COVID to just drive there for this location scout. And Jen found on Craigslist a pair of matching life-size nutcrackers. Oh. And she was like, guys, I got it. She immediately messaged this seller. And he said, unfortunately, you got scooped. Someone else has bought these. Sorry. So Jen and I and Lucia contacted the prop house and were able to actually get.
So nice of you to include me. I did nothing.
Lucia was driving, so we were on our phones.
Director's cut of like episode 7 or something
while driving.
And we found the prop house actually ended up selling us one, and so we brought it over in the car to Jean's house. We were going to drop it off, and as we're going up the driveway,
and I was like, Paul, look. Look, it's the nutcrackers.
No.
The 2 nutcrackers from Craigslist were on her porch already. She had found them, bought them, and put them up.
Jean, you dog.
Yes.
I cannot
unbelievable
deal with this information.
We were like, you got them?
On the World Wide Web.
She's like, well, they were matching, and they were wearing Buckingham Palace outfits.
Yeah.
So we were like, yeah, they were good finds. Yeah. So anyway, it's partly Jean, and then my grandmother has a massive collection of Buyer's Choice Christmas carolers, those little kind of doll-like people.
Yeah.
So we sent photos of my grandmother's stash to our production designer, Alec Contestable, and our set decorator, Jen Lucart. They were able, and I don't know how, but they were able to source hundreds of thousands of these little ornaments.
Wow.
Yeah. Which we felt like Deborah would not only have somewhere in her house that she would store, but it would kind of be half storage, half display. So she could go in there for a moment. She needed a moment of zen.
Yeah.
Her moment of zen. When she's really down, she goes into her Christmas room.
She gets a hit.
Yeah.
I'm hiding out in Deborah's Christmas room. Somehow it feels racist in here, but I can't explain why. Anyway.
So I want to pop over to Jimmy and Kayla in Latitude, and I want to ask about the writing process. It's so good that I don't know anything, so I can ask all the questions. Love that. So when you have this relationship with Jimmy and Kayla that is like a Mad Lib, it can go anywhere. You can put them anywhere and it's perfect. Is that all taking place in like a blue sky thing? Or are you like, this is the arc for Jimmy and Kayla, this is the rough outline, and then you pop it into the episodes? What is the process? Are you going episode by episode? Is it at the beginning? Like, how do you map out that relationship?
We do try to make sure that it has stakes in the story that we're telling in general. So for the first 2 episodes, Jimmy's very much dealing with Ava's email. So and also still dealing with the fallout from Las Vegas, the hotel room scene.
Okay. Holy shit, what are you doing? Why are you wearing lingerie?
It's not lingerie, it's regular pajamas.
Okay, why are you wearing regular pajamas?
So it looks more believable that we're on our honeymoon.
What?
Oh, the hotel thinks we're on our honeymoon. That's how I got us this amazing room.
Us? Oh my God, I thought you were just using my bathroom. You need to get your own room, and you need to do it now.
I guess I can ask the guy when room service comes.
We are not ordering room service. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, we are. I ordered us champagne.
Why?
To go with the chocolate-covered strawberries.
I think that was something that we feel very proud of, actually, and it happened in season 1, that while Jimmy and Kayla are this sort of comedic duo for the show, it's also really important to us to make their story interwoven into the story of Ava and Deborah and the overall plot of the show. So in season 1, for instance, it's Kayla that actually finds this opportunity for Ava that then gets her so in trouble with Deborah. And Jimmy unknowingly exposes that to Deborah. So we always want their story to serve the overall story of the show. It's never just a moment of comedic relief. We really want it to feel completely integrated and completely organic to the world. And so again, this year, hopefully we've done that again with Jimmy dealing with this email and also paying off what we set up last year with Kayla's inappropriate advance. We're always trying to do things that we can pay off in some way and follow up on. And hopefully you see that those things reverberate through the entire season of season 2, like they did in season 1.
Totally.
I have a question for you, though. What was it like for you getting that first episode, reading that first script, coming off of season 1? What was it like? What was it like when you were introduced to episode 201?
Where were you when you read it? Just kidding.
Here's the thing about you guys, is that I'm going, what will they do next? And I'm always thinking, like, in the time between season 1 and 2, I was racking my brain to be like, how is this going to be resolved? I feel like you guys definitely, and Lucia, like, you helped me to reach emotional levels with Ava this season that I haven't experienced before. Like, you just gave all of us, like, more to do because I think there was probably, like, more trust there. And so it was exciting to be able to, like, take that on and grow. Yeah, I was just so excited because it's my favorite show. Like, I'm let's be clear here. I mean, and when I was auditioning, I was like, you know what? I won't get this, but I'm excited to watch. Like, that was always my attitude about it. So, okay, sad alert, folks at home. Ava's dad does part from this heavenly plane to the next. He does pass, and I thought that you guys really threaded the needle of her being, like, present and in her world and, like, kind of dealing with it by working. How much of Ava's sort of, like, fear and anxiety and stuff that she's dealing with around the email, like, how much of that is also, like, dad death stuff?
Yeah, avoidance of dealing with her grief.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's holding both things at the same time, She's still in shock, I think, from her dad, but also this relationship with Deborah has really just blossomed almost in the wake of it. And then, when she receives her father's ashes in the mail at the luggage room at the Palmetto, I think she is like, it's just another time for her to kind of be dealing with it. And she's not sure how to deal with it. She does talk to Ray about it a little bit,
which I love that scene. I think it's sweet, and you were both so funny in it.
A lot of good Hannah Einbinder improv.
Yeah,
that's right.
Probably the most improvised.
The last line of that scene. Let me know about that egg.
Yeah,
so funny. Also,
I hear that, brother.
A lot. Honestly, it's quotable. We truly quote it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of funny.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Ad-libbing in that scene.
Do you like improvising?
I love
Do it more.
Okay.
Well, one thing we learned from season 1, because there were such great additions that you improvised in that scene with Joe Mandy. And we've learned a lot in making the show. Because season 1, when we were shooting episode 5, Falling, there's a scene in the bowels of the casino in the back hallways, and she runs into a drunk Deborah. And Hannah added, do you remember exactly what it is?
I do. It was, Deborah says, like, oh, you're wearing a dress. Like, there's a woman under there or something. And Ava says, oh, you want to talk about clothes? You look like you let your tailor loose in an antique carpet store.
Which was so funny.
So funny.
And we loved.
That one was just because she was wearing that long
Right.
Tapestry.
pattern
She was like wearing a tapestry. Yeah.
That one was, and yeah, my like little like roast battle head was like, okay, roast joke. Like,
Perfect.
and then just whatever.
So Ava, Deborah.
Yeah.
A roast battle joke is exactly
Yeah.
the sweet spot of the show.
I want to talk about the UFC fight in episode 1. Such an incredible plot device for everyone involved. For, Aiden and Deborah, he wants her approval so much. For DJ and Aiden, for DJ and Deborah and Ava, Kiki Popcorn Purse, huge, huge. Talk to me about like how that idea came about, because that kicks off the rest of the season. It's a huge moment for Deborah to really like, one moment she's in the bathroom and she's going like, I don't even know if this is worth it anymore. And the next moment she, kind of gets fired up. So talk about that scene and the way that propels the plot forward a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think we knew that since they were going on the road, and a lot of the season wouldn't take place in Vegas, and we all love the backdrop of Vegas, we wanted to give major Vegas energy. So
Totally.
Fight Night is such a big thing in Vegas, and of course, we already set up that Aiden is a fighter, and so it kind of felt like, okay, if this is where we're wanting to set the episode at the end for the climax, what else can we weave into that location? And I think it's really fun to be able to have a huge action sequence in the show. It's not something we've done before, but in the end, what we have talked about so much is Deborah is a fighter, right? So it really made sense in a lot of levels that we would have somebody who's a proxy for her in the ring, and Aiden made so much sense.
Everybody thinks you're done. No one believes in you, okay? They want to see you get knocked down, and they want you to stay down. But guess what? You're gonna get back up, and you're gonna find his weakness, and you're gonna hit it hard. And you're gonna hit it again, and again, and again. In fact, you're gonna hit him so hard, he doesn't get angry. He gets scared. You're the underdog, but you're gonna get back up because you're advanced now. So go kill him.
Though I will say, I think that the ending of that and the whole like you're advanced now was a little bit retrofitted as we were writing or shoot, like a little bit later. We kind of reinforced that a little bit more.
We knew we wanted this big set piece in Vegas where we could have a lot of our ensemble there. We could see Marty. We could meet his new girlfriend. We could see DJ. We could have Kiki.
And MC Ludwig.
And of course, MC Ludwig. And other incredible Vegas characters like Wayne Newton.
And Mayor Joe Pescimenti.
And Mayor Joe Pescimenti. She's got to be there.
Oh my God. Lauren Weidman shouts out.
Who we absolutely adore. And so I think one of the things was we knew that we wanted Aiden to be a stand-in for Deborah. Deborah, as you say, in that bathroom scene just before with you, which you both acted so beautifully. She literally throws in the towel as she walks out. She's like, I don't know if I want to do this. She throws in the towel.
Bet you're going to see it now.
And she gets to the ring. And because it's also someone that she loves, DJ is sitting next to her, and her partner is being pummeled. It is the thing that fires her up. And Deborah is someone who's been knocked down 1,000 times, and she's gotten back up every single time. So it was a really, to us, perfect metaphor for what this character is and what she's going to go and then do. Because we shot that earlier on in the season.
January 10th.
And when she says, oh, that's right, it was Lucia's birthday.
Lucia's birthday.
Lucia was directing 8 months pregnant. No, was it 8? I guess you were 7 months pregnant.
I mean,
on your birthday.
Lucia's a Capricorn, if anyone's interested in our star signs.
I think everyone knows.
Somebody update the goddamn wiki.
Hannah's a Gemini.
Yeah.
Paul and I, Scorpio.
Yes.
Brother, sister.
I'm on the cusp. I got some Sagittarius action.
Okay.
Sneaking up.
I love the cusp.
But when Jean performed the monologue and she says, you're going to get back up because you're advanced now. It just gave us chills. And you know what? It gave us chills on the day, but then when we saw a rough cut of the scene, we really loved that particular moment so much that we, I think, did a couple line rewrites to heighten the amount of tension that she had with Aiden, because it felt so powerful to us that she welcomes this person in and says, "You're a Vance," which is so funny because men rarely take the last name of their wives,
so
but he is
Deborah
a Vance now.
Jr.
Yeah.
You're a Vance now.
So we made, and we always knew we wanted this story to have DJ hoping Deborah would accept Aiden, but I think we did heighten that because we wanted it to pay off.
Yeah, because we actually shot the fight before we shot the DJ apartment scene. Yeah, DJ Aiden.
And also
Deborah.
the
Pot pie. Yeah.
You're eating Josefina's chicken pot pie, and it's 10 a.m. What's wrong?
No, don't psychoanalyze my pot pie, all right?
Okay. Caitlin Olsen, national treasure.
Absolutely.
Such an incredible
So
actor.
good.
So funny.
Insane, one of the best on the planet.
Yeah. Everything she says.
Everyone needs to respect.
She is incredible. So funny, and also such a good dramatic actor.
Yes.
She really
Oh my
impresses
God.
us, and there is never a take that isn't
Usable
excellent.
and
Yeah.
perfect.
True.
So they go from the fight to the paintball
Mm-hmm.
moment. That has to be for, a million reasons, shot in so many pieces. It's a couple seconds, it's maybe 15 seconds, but talk to me about the work that goes into actually executing that scene with all of the, CGI, the billboard, the this, the that, the, who's shooting the thing and the whatever, like, you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
We're going here, we're going
It's a lot.
So much work.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, what's interesting is the location for that was actually quite challenging.
Yeah.
So we shot it in Long Beach. But then there's little things like in the background, you see Treasure Island, the building, the like Vegas hotel. But, we shot in Long Beach. So that was a comp. And then, of course, we had to comp in the billboard of it, of the MC Ludwig, and then also the paintball itself. Comp is just, when you put a piece of something into the shot, usually through VFX. Though I guess it could also mean this other little thing that we do sometimes is if continuity isn't right, like let's just say you're on one side of the screen and Deborah's on the other side, and on the previous shot you were raising your arm, but then in the two shot you're not raising your arm, it'll look funky. We can sometimes split the frame and then comp in two different takes so that the continuity works, and we actually do that all over the place.
Absolutely. I've melted into a puddle. I mean, I understand that. I guess I understand that that's possible, but wow.
And it's actually only become the norm in the last couple years. Like early on in Broad City, I don't remember doing it. I think it was like as we were midway through that, people were like, "You can do that," and I'm like, "You can." Or maybe it has. Other people are always doing it, but it's become easier, I guess, to do. But we do that constantly. But let's give it up to our main chica, Jean Smart. Her continuity is on game.
She is
point.
such a brilliant actor, but also technically so skilled at matching and doing the same things and saying, "Oh, sorry guys, I had the prop in my hand on that line." It's really remarkable. I mean, her brain is incredible. And we have to also give credit to our brilliant editor, Jessica Brunetto, who has worked with us from Broad City and Time Traveling Bong, and also edited this episode, There Will Be Blood, so beautifully, which was a real challenge because that action sequence at the end, the fight sequence, there's so much coverage, so much footage. And to make an action sequence feel real, thank God we had Paul Felder, who is an actual actor and UFC fighter. Yes. His opponent was an actual UFC fighter. The ref was an actual UFC ref. I think we brought the authenticity in terms of all of the elements, but then she really made it feel so real.
Oh, yeah.
Both in her cut of it, but also Lucia's directing of that scene.
Yeah, and I remember hearing that was one of the scenes that had the most coverage on it in the entire season.
I think we did like 55
series,
setups in a day and shot it over 2 days.
So crazy.
With so many extras. It was really wild. Yeah.
Oh my God, how do you do it? That's really my big question here.
How do you do it? Well, it is a real credit to Lucia in this episode in particular. I think you can see her skill and her range because she comes from performing, and so she's so good at directing actors. Am I right,
Performances,
Hannah?
yes, correct.
She's so good because she knows how she would perform it. She knows how she feels the music of the comedy should be. She also, being a brilliant writer, is like, try this joke, try that joke. But then when you see her do something like the action sequence in There Will Be Blood, it's really remarkable because that is a whole separate visual skill and visual language that she can do. So it's really, and because her direction is so invisible, it's never conspicuous. The camera moves aren't ever exaggerated. It's just supporting the story and the character. It is something I think people don't even necessarily realize.
Did you watch any UFC stuff, or you just were like, "This is my look"?
Well, a little bit, just to be like, well, what does it actually look like and
what
feel
does UFC
like?
look like?
Yeah, because I had never really seen it except for one place where I get Mexican food is on a lot. So actually, that's where I've seen it.
Yeah,
the
it's
most.
always on there. And it's,
But I also didn't want it to necessarily. I wanted to fit within the Hacks world, so I already kind of had an idea of how I would want it to feel, and that's something that Adam Bricker and I talked about a lot. Is like, before the
Adam Bricker is our director of photography.
Director of photography.
Yeah,
that's the photo.
Sweet
that's
boy.
the camera. Just so you guys know.
Very sweet boy. Very talented
him.
wunderkid.
But yeah, we would. We were like talking about having the camera be outside of the cage, for the first half of it. But then after Deborah gives her speech, then all of a sudden the camera moves inside the ring because now Deborah is seeing Aiden as a proxy for herself. So therefore, of course, we would be with him and therefore with her, and that really changing it and, shooting then from inside the cage out to you guys. So there's like the cage is in between a bunch, and, that those choices are things that we're talking about just constantly. But, yeah, like Paul said, if it's ever conspicuous or you're ever thinking about the direction, then I think it's bad direction. So yeah, I try to be as invisible as possible.
Yeah, you don't like. Another good thing about Lucia is like
I love this.
There's like, well, like
this podcast is better than therapy. Just come in and hear stuff.
No, therapy, you're like, I suck. But like, there's a lot of cool shots we sometimes do, and there's been times we've been in the edit where I'm like, oh my God, that shot's so cool, and Lucia will be the one, even though it's her shot and she did it, she's like, it just doesn't, it's not like servicing the scene, it's slowing it down, or the pace doesn't work. Like, that doesn't happen a lot. We don't do a lot of things that we cut, but like, I'm always impressed because I'm like, if I ever did anything that cool, I'd absolutely use it. I'd be like, fuck your show. This is about me and my cool shot. But like, Lucia is also servicing the story in that way, and that she's able to let things go if she doesn't feel like it services the ultimate goal of that scene and that story and that episode and the show as a whole.
And that's how I
just
differ
like
from her,
things.
because I just put in this cool shots. Don't care if it makes sense. Don't care if the story makes no sense. Just kidding.
Before we end, the little guest host of the podcast that's me, folks. And I'm 5'8" 3/4, so not so little, but I get to pitch you all on what I'd like to see happen on a future season of the show. So here's mine, and this is off the dome, okay? It's Josefina, it's Ava, it's Ray, and you better believe it is Caitlin. They're doing an errand for Deborah for some reason.
Together.
That's up to you guys.
Got it.
I love that Ray got pulled into
Me
the
too.
Ray's pulled in. So they're in the car. They got to do an errand for Deborah. DJ is in charge of directions, gives a wrong turn.
Oh, DJ.
They're in no man's land. They take a wrong turn. They end up at like a crazy biker, like desert bar.
Cool.
And running out of gas. Okay. They're all in Ray's car.
Great.
Okay.
He's an
Ray,
Uber driver.
Can I ask
on
what
the
kind
side.
of car does Ray drive?
Ooh, it's an old Buick.
Oh,
Great.
Lovely.
So and
Buick Century.
and
Love
it was his dad's, and
That
then
was
they
my
have
first
that
car.
moment. Buick
Ugh.
Century.
Yeah, my grandmother's car passed down to me.
Okay, so that's the car.
Yeah.
But it keeps breaking down. It's like such a nightmare, and it
Ugh.
breaks down in this biker bar. And DJ, they go in and like they're trying to get help from these bikers. DJ like says something crazy, and then they have to like break free from the bikers to get auto mechanic help and earn their freedom from these guys who are like gonna kill him. And then they're like, no, and then they're like, yeah, and then they get in the car and then they get back to Deborah, but they have to come back with what they were going to do the errand for.
Oh, you better.
And
You were nervous about the bikers? What about a mad Deborah?
yeah, no thanks. And then I wish you could all see Lucia's face.
I'm loving it.
I know.
I'm loving the detail. This is a full episode. It's not even just
the
like, here's
most,
a
like,
general premise. Here's a
looking at
full
kid.
No.
beginning, middle, end episode.
I love it.
No, it was great.
Josefina, I feel like, figures it out.
Yeah.
I feel like
Josefina-
she
Oh, yeah.
holds the key.
Yeah.
Josefina holds the key. Well, she can communicate with the bikers. And you're like, how the hell?
She used to be one.
used
Oh
to
my
be
gosh,
one.
she used to be
She
one.
pulls up her sleeve. That's why she wears long sleeves. She pulls up her sleeve tattoo of a skull and crossbones.
We should give a shout out
Oh
at
my
this moment
God.
to Rose Abdu, who is
Rose.
so brilliantly funny,
Uh-huh.
so excellent.
Absolutely.
The
a
way
key
in
part
which-
of our heart.
When Deborah's like, does someone have anything positive to add? And
Yep.
Josefina's like, I think we should repaint the moldings in the sitting room. And Deborah's like, thank you, Josefina. And then Josefina Rose just goes into this whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's so fucking
I have a
funny.
contact at Valspar.
We actually had a lot of
funny.
little funny different improvised beats from her, and that's the one we
Yeah.
went with. She always gives everything we need in the cut. We're always like, you can count on her, honey.
Oh, yeah. Jen Paul Lucia, thank you for joining me on your
What a
podcast.
Our
for having
podcast.
me.
Our podcast.
Thank you for
Thanks
having
for
us.
hosting.
Thank you
Oh
for
my God.
hosting.
Thank
Are
you
you
for being such a
kidding?
fan.
I am one huge Hacks
I'm
fan.
just
Hacks Nation, do please rise. In the next episode, Jen, Paul, and Lucia are going to dish about making the second episode of Hacks Season 2 on HBO Max May 12th with guest host Darcy Carden. Thank you so much for letting me kick off this podcast with you.
It was an honor to have you be the first of
Pleasure
our guest
to have
hosts.
you.
I love you guys so deeply, and I would die for you.
Oh.
Ditto.
Love
Tomorrow,
you too.
Ditto.
tonight, whatever
Don't,
you need.
Don't
I
do
won't,
it.
but if
Yeah.
it came down to it in some weird hypothetical
Wait till the series
circumstance.
finale.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, when the series is done. Okay, I love you. Bye.
Kiss, kiss.
This is the Hacks official podcast with Lucia Aniello, Paul W. Downs, and Jen Statsky. Special thanks to this episode's guest host, Hannah Einbinder. This podcast is a production of HBO Max and Pineapple Street Studios. Our executive producers are Barry Finkel, Gabrielle Lewis, Jenna Weiss-Berman, and Max Linsky. Our producers are Beyondria July, Melissa Slaughter, and Ari Saperstein. Our managing producer is Erin Kelly, and Maria Robin Somerville is our associate producer. Darby Maloney is our editor. The show is mixed by Twee McCallum with engineering from Davey Sumner. Production music is courtesy of HBO. You can watch episodes of Hacks on HBO Max. Until next time.